palms are sweating, your mouth is dry, your heart is pounding, your breath is shallow, and you have to go give a speech. You have to go talk in front of the class. How many of you can relate to this? How many of you have had that time in class when you had to give that presentation back in middle school, back in high school, when you were just sweating, when you were just nervous, you had all this anxiety inside of you, and you had to go do it. And you didn't feel like you were worthy. You didn't feel like you were good enough to do it. You didn't feel like you had the skill set to do it, but you went and did it anyway. And all of that anxiety was building up that whole week, knowing that you had to give that presentation. Your palms are sweating in class. Your heart is beating. And you have to go give this speech. And your mouth is so dry up there. So many people can relate to this because public speaking is one of the biggest fears in the world. People getting in front of other people. And the reason being is because you're putting yourself out there. You're putting yourself up there to be critiqued by other people, to be judged. And if we don't do well, if we think that we failed, it hurts our self-esteem. It hurts our self-worth. And then that carries with us throughout our life. So anxiety, self-worth, it all stems from judgment of other people, of not being able to succeed, of being scared of failure. So today I want to talk about how I've used some practical tips in my life to overcome anxiety, to overcome some of the things that can diminish your self-worth. And I'm not going to lie to you, I still struggle with this. I still struggle with anxiety. I still struggle with not feeling like I'm enough, not feeling like I'm worthy. But today I want to give you some practical tips that you can take that have reduced the anxiety in my life, that have built the self-worth, the self-respect in my life. Because we all suffer from this. Because we all want the approval of others. Love and connection is one of the basic human needs. Love and connection. And we want that approval from other people. And anytime we put ourselves out there, anytime you step out the comfort zone, you're stepping into unfamiliar territory, you are putting yourself at risk of failure. You're putting yourself at risk of being judged. You're putting yourself at risk of taking a hit to your self-esteem. But the funny thing is, the way to reduce anxiety is the same thing. Is to take action. Is to make decisions. And I can tell you, the biggest decision I ever had to make in my life was quitting my job as a teacher. I taught middle school for 2 years. I taught high school for 2 years. So a total of 4 years. It was a job that was secure. It was a job that I was comfortable with. But I knew I wanted more. But I knew it wasn't for me. But the idea of quitting was scary. I didn't know if I had the skills to go do what I wanted to do. I didn't even know what I wanted to do, but I knew this was no longer for me. I knew that I had more to do. And I believe if you live in a shell of yourself, if you don't fully express yourself, you will build up more anxiety. You will cause lack of self-worth to build up inside of you. Those limiting beliefs in your head will continue to build if you don't do what you were put on this earth to do. So today, I want to go through a couple steps that you can start taking today to start reducing that anxiety, to start building that self-worth. And I'm going to share some personal stories that have helped me. In the first one, like I said, I had to quit my job as a teacher. And I thought about this for 2 to 3 years, right? I knew I needed to quit. I knew I needed to do it. And I was so anxious about it because I didn't know what was on the other side. And it's easy to quit when you know what's going to happen. It's easy to quit when you already had the backup job set up. It's easy to end a relationship when you're already starting to talk to somebody else and you already got other people interested in you. But that doesn't take courage. What courage is making the decision without knowing what's on the other side. And that's why anxiety builds up. But the funny thing is, if you actually just make the decision, the anxiety starts to go away. So I finally made that decision to quit teaching. And then the rest of the year, I felt so much better. That anxiety went away. And I didn't have my plan for what I was going to do next, but I no longer had to carry that weight on my shoulders of knowing that I was meant for more and that I could no longer continue this job. Thinking about that for 2 years led to more anxiety. It led to lack of self-worth because I knew this wasn't what I was meant to do. I knew this wasn't what I wanted to do, but I continued to show up and do it. And when you're doing a job that doesn't actually fulfill you, when you're doing something that isn't meant for you, that isn't aligned with you as a person, you're selling yourself out. And when you sell yourself out, it's hard to live with yourself. So step number one, if you want to reduce your anxiety, is start to make definite decisions. If you ever pick up the book Think and Grow Rich, there's a whole chapter on decision making. Make a definite decision. It doesn't have to be the right decision. It just has to be a decision. Any decision is better than no decision. And if you finally make that decision in your life, whether it's to end a relationship, whether it's to quit the job, whether it's to start the new business, that anxiety is going to go away a little bit. Because you're building this up and you know you have to do this thing. And the longer we put it off, the worse it gets. I'm sure you've opened a mailbox before and you had a stack of bills in there and you just didn't want to open them. But every day you walk by that pile of bills and each time you look at it, you get more and more anxious. But you don't want to open them because you don't want to see those bills that you have to pay. And you put it off for another month. And then you're thinking about the late notices that are about to come in, those late fees that are going to stack up. But you still haven't opened them. You still haven't made the decision. You still haven't paid that bill. And I will tell you, as soon as you start taking action, that anxiety will go away. Because I know you've had that moment when you opened up the bill, you paid it, and as soon as it was paid, as soon as you swiped your credit card, you felt a lot better. That anxiety that was building up for weeks dissipated. And that's the same thing with everything in your life. When you have this anxiety, when you have this thing that you want to do, when you have a decision that you have to make, if you put it off, if you push it down the road, what happens is you build more and more anxiety on this situation. So today, I challenge you to start making decisions and make definite decisions. And this is a skill that you can actually develop, making decisions, creating certainty. See, when you don't make decisions, when you second guess everything, your nervous system picks up on that. And what that starts to do is build a lack of belief in yourself. You don't trust yourself to make a decision. And if you can't trust yourself to make a decision, it takes a hit on your self-belief, your self-respect, and your self-worth. So taking action, making a decision, is going to make you feel so much better. When you had that presentation when you were back in middle school and you had to go in front of the class, even though your palms were sweating, even though you had all these things going on, soon as you get up, deliver the presentation and sit down, you feel a lot better about yourself. And this is going to happen in every aspect of your life. So I want you to think about, what is that decision in your life that you need to make right now? What is that big decision? What is that action that you need to take? Have you been talking about starting that business for a year now and you haven't made a decision? Have you been in a relationship and you're telling your friends that you need to cut it off, but you just haven't made that decision yet? Whatever that decision is, I want you to write it down on a piece of paper right now. What is that one thing that you need to make a decision on? I want you to circle it. I want you to underline it. I want you to highlight it. I want you to check it. And I want you to take some steps today. I want you to take some actions today that is actually going to put that plan in motion, that is actually going to make that happen. Whether it's just making that first email, whether it's just picking up the phone and making that call. Whatever that is for you today, I need you to go ahead and make action on it. Because as soon as you take that action, as soon as you make that decision, that anxiety is going to go away. And you're going to start to build confidence if you can do this over a period of time. And the thing is, you're never going to know how it's going to play out. You'll never know if you actually made the right decision or not. But the only thing that you need to do is take steps forward. The only thing that you need to do is actually make decisions. And most people won't do things unless they know what's going to happen. Most people won't go and do the thing unless they know that it's going to work out for them. And the other day I was on this walk. And I was out in Puerto Rico and I was walking up this hill. And I'm going up this hill and my legs are burning. My calves are burning. And then your mind starts talking to you, telling you to stop, telling you to quit. And I'm walking up this hill, and I didn't know where it led. I didn't know what was going to be at the top. And I thought about stopping and turning around. But I continued just to keep walking. I said I already started, I might as well finish. So I walked, and then I saw this turn, and this turn went up even farther up this hill. And I continued to walk, and I get to the top of this hill, and I see this beautiful view that I did not know was going to be there. I could see the ocean. I could see the whole city of San Juan. It was an amazing view. But I did not know it was going to be there. But I just continued walking. And I think that's what you need to take, is that concept in your life. You don't need to know exactly how it's going to work out. Just continue to walk. Just continue to take steps. Continue to go. Even if it's uncomfortable. Even if your legs are burning, even if it isn't really comfy and it's out of the comfort zone, just keep on walking, keep on stepping, keep on moving. And as you continue to move up this hill, as you continue to climb that mountain in your life, whatever that is in your life, we all have our own mountains that we need to climb. And we don't know what's going to be at the top. And we don't know how it's going to work out. And we don't know what the view is going to look like. And we don't know what we're going to get. But we still got to climb that mountain. And you have that mountain in your life right now. That thing that you want. That thing that you need to do. That thing that you need to make the decision on today. And once you start going. And once you start taking steps. And once you start moving. Just don't stop. Just keep on going. And when you get to the top of that mountain. You're going to see something that you were not expecting. You might find something that's more beautiful than you were even expecting. I was just doing it for exercise. And I got to the top of the mountain and I got this beautiful view. And then I started talking to myself and I had a great moment up there. But people don't get rewarded for thinking about things. People don't get rewarded from procrastinating. People don't get rewarded for being perfectionist. It's just a perfectionist is just a better word for a procrastinator. Take action. Make decisions. Move forward. And your anxiety will reduce. The next thing I want to talk about is that self-worth. Because a lot of us are battling with that self-worth every day. I know I battle with self-worth every single day. When I wanted to post my first video, as soon as I posted it, I felt stupid. Who am I to be posting on here? Who am I to be sharing my story? Nobody wants to hear me speak. Nobody wants to hear me talk. No one wants to hear me run my mouth here on social media. Those are the limiting beliefs that I had. That was the story that I was telling myself. And self-worth comes from the story that you are telling yourself. And a lot of times that story comes from childhood. A lot of times that story comes from school when you were a kid. A lot of times that story comes from things that happened in your life, those little failures that are now ingrained in you, and you don't want to go up against it again. So this voice in the back of your head says, don't do it. Because remember what happened last time you did it. Remember what happened in middle school when you went and spoke in front of the whole class and you looked like a dummy. Now you're going to be on here on social media trying to talk in front of millions of people? Who are you to do that, man? Couldn't even give the speech in front of 20 kids in high school. Now you think you're going to be a social media influencer. Come on, man. Take a seat. That is the voice that's going to start talking to you in your head. That is the voice that's going to keep on coming at you. But you don't have to listen to that voice. And there's ways to start building that self-confidence. And there's ways to start drowning out that voice. And one of the best ways I found is by setting routines. If you can start setting routines in your life, you can start changing your life. Because what you want to do is start building evidence. You want to start building that resume, that evidence of things that you've done, times that you've showed up, to start building that self-worth and that self-confidence. So what I like to do is I take a 45-minute walk in the morning. And some days I don't feel like doing it. Some days I don't want to do it. Then after that, I read for 15 minutes or 10 pages. And then after that, I get to work. But what I do in the morning is that little routine of no cell phone, of walking 45 minutes in reading 10 pages. That builds confidence. That builds self-respect, because some days I don't feel like doing it and then I do it anyway. And what that starts to do is prove to yourself that you can do things and you can be consistent. Even when you don't want to do it. Even when you don't want to go to the gym. Even when you don't want to start the diet, you do it anyway. And you start doing these little things day in and day out. And don't start with a million things at once. Start small. What you can do is start the habit stack. And habit stack is just linking one habit that you already have with a new habit that you want to implement. So the example that I like to use is when I wanted to get into meditating, I was already drinking coffee every day. So each time I turned on the coffee pot to brew the coffee, I would meditate. So I stacked a habit that I already had with a new habit. So coffee goes on. Before you drink your coffee, you meditate. And it starts to build a routine. But what this does, it starts to build that confidence in your life. When you can add these new routines, when you can add these new habits, it starts to build that confidence, that self-respect, that self-esteem. So then when you have this evidence inside of you, when you have the evidence of the things that you can do even when you don't feel like doing it, then it makes it easier to go make that decision. Then it makes it easier to go try that new thing. Then it makes it easier to go ask that girl out. Then it makes it easier to do everything because you have a stack of evidence of times when you showed up when you didn't feel like doing it. So if you want to start building that self-esteem, start building those habits and those routines in your life. But you have to be careful because the other side of that coin could be just as dangerous. When you say you're going to stop drinking and you keep on drinking and you know you're lying to yourself. Do you know how many times I had a hangover and I said I'm done drinking? I would tell my friends and they would just laugh at me because they didn't believe me. And what that did to me was it started to set these lies inside of me. It started to set this lack of self-belief inside of me because every time I said I was going to stop drinking, I knew I wasn't going to do it, but I was saying it out loud and then I wasn't following through with my actions. And then when you do that over a period of time, what starts to happen is you don't even believe yourself. You don't even trust yourself. So if you want to build self-esteem, stop telling yourself lies. If you know you're not going to stop drinking, don't say it. One thing I did was no drinking for 90 days, and that changed a lot because I put a deadline. I know I'm not going to stop drinking forever, but I can do it for 90 days. And that proved a lot to me. That built self-esteem. That builds self-respect. And that starts to build that self-worth over a period of time. So if you can start to show up for yourself with these little things, these little habits, these little routines, it sets you up for the big things that you want in your life. But if you are really confused with why your self-worth isn't good, if you're really confused why you don't have the success that you want, if you're really confused with why you don't feel the way that you want to feel, I want you to do one thing right now. I want you to look into your investment strategy. What is your investment strategy? So we have 4 different things that we can invest. We have our time, we have our money, we have our energy, and we have our focus. You have your time, money, energy, and focus. And you can invest those into whatever you want. And I want you to look at your life right now. Where are you investing your time, money, energy, and focus? Where are you investing that, right? Your time is your most important. Where are you investing your time? Where are you putting your energy? What are you focused on? Where are you spending your money? And if you look at that, if you can look at where you're investing, you will find out exactly what you are getting good at. And sometimes we're investing in things that we don't want to get good at. Hey, I can tell you guys, I went a long time investing in my drinking. I would go out on the weekends. I would go out to the bars. I would spend my time there at the bar. I would spend my money there. I would spend my energy there. I would be depleted the next day from going out and drinking. So drinking had my time, my money, my energy, and my focus. So guess what, guys? I got a lot better at drinking. Because wherever you invest your time, money, energy, and focus, you're going to get better. So if you want to become a better drinker, keep on investing in the bar. Keep on investing in the alcohol. Keep on investing in those late nights. If you're investing your time, money, and energy into books, you're going to get smarter. You're going to learn more. You're going to have more knowledge. If you're investing it in your workouts, in your workout routine, in your supplements, you're going to get stronger. You're going to be more powerful. You're going to have a better physique. You're going to like the way that you look. You're going to get a lot better in that area. If you're investing in your diet, you're going to feel better. So I want you to look at your investment strategy. Where are you putting that money? Where are you putting your time? Where are you putting your energy? And wherever you're putting that is where you're going to get better. If you're going around spending all your time on dating apps and doing one-night stands, you're going to get a lot better at doing that because you're putting your time, money, energy, and focus on that. So think about what you want in your life. What do you want to build? Who do you want to be? What is that you want? And I want you to start investing your time, your money, your energy, and your focus in that area. Right now, I spend my time in personal development. Right now, I spend my time reaching out to potential clients. Right now, I spend my time into building myself up. And over the last couple of years, I spent most of my time in books, most of my time in the gym, most of my time with myself, working on myself. And guess what? I'm getting better in those areas. But like I said before, back then, a couple years ago, I was spending most of my time going out to the bars, drinking, hooking up with random girls. And you get better at that. But that wasn't the life that I wanted. I was no longer wanting to go out and drink and be hungover every day. I was no longer wanting to live that lifestyle. I no longer wanted that life for me anymore. And I realized if I spend all my time here, all my money, and all my energy, I'm going to get a lot better at that. And think about that too for your job. Where are you spending your time, money, and energy? You got 8 hours of the day going to your job. Is that a job that you actually want? Is that a job that is actually for you? Because you're spending a lot of your time there. You're spending a lot of your energy there. Hey, if you're watching the news all the time, you're going to get a lot more of that too. A lot more fear, a lot more anger, a lot more anxiety on what's going on. And I'm not saying the news is right or wrong. And I'm not saying one-night stands are right or wrong. I'm not saying drinking is right or wrong. I'm not saying reading books is right or wrong. But wherever you invest your time, your money, and your energy, you're going to get a lot better at it. So that's what I want you to do today is take a look at that. Write down the 3 areas that you're spending your time, your money, and your energy. Put a plus next to it if you like it. Put a minus next to it if you don't. And if you got a whole bunch of minuses, I think you should start looking at that investment of your time, money, and energy and start putting it into places that you want to improve. That's why I hired a coach back when I did. That's why I quit my job back when I did, because I knew this isn't what I wanted anymore. I no longer wanted the late night drinking. I no longer wanted that lifestyle. I wanted to start to build something else. So I invested in a coach. I invested in books. I invested in my fitness. I invested in my nutrition. And I got better in every single one of those areas. Now I actually have my own business, which was my dream. Now I feel fit. Now I have the energy that I want from the nutrition. Now I have a lot of knowledge on a lot of information that really interests me because I invested in books. So think about where you're spending that time, money, and energy and come up with a plan for you. But the basis of this is to build your self-worth, because if you're investing in these things that tear down your self-worth, if you're investing in drama with your friends, if you're investing in going out and doing things that tear down your self-worth, it's hard to make progress forward. So that's why we want to take these current routines that we have and create new ones. And then eventually, these routines become a part of who you are. You actually shift your whole identity. Now, the last thing I want you to look at is your environment. What are the people, the places, and the things that are around you? What is surrounding you? Because what is around you really affects how you feel. It really affects what you do. And we have a lot of triggers in our environment. We have a lot of things that can trigger us. There's certain people that trigger you right away. There's certain places that trigger you. There's certain smells that trigger you. There's certain things that trigger you. Sometimes they trigger you to a good emotion. Sometimes they trigger you to a bad emotion. But you want to start pulling the weeds. You want to start pulling out those weeds, those people that put you into those bad states, those things that put you into your bad states, those things that work against your goals. When you got a whole bunch of junk food in the house, those are triggers to put you into eating that crap. You take that out of your house, You replace it with good food, that trigger is no longer there. You no longer act on that. So start setting up your environment that is going to be conducive to your success. Start pulling the people out that drain you, because your energy is important and you have to protect that energy. And the people around you, the places that you go, the things that you do, the words that you say, they all affect your energy. And if you're low energy, you're not going to be able to go where you want to go. You're not going to have the energy to make those decisions, to take those actions that we were talking about earlier. You have to set up your environment for success. You have to surround yourself with the right people. If you're not putting the right inputs in, you're not going to get the right outputs. Everything that you bring in, everything that you consume has an effect on you. Is that a positive effect or is that a negative effect? Every book that you read is going to affect you. Everything that you eat is going to affect you. Every conversation that you have is going to affect you. That is an input. That is something that you're consuming. Every television show is going to affect you. That is another input. Is it a positive one or is it a negative one? And if you can start to change the inputs that come in, that's going to change your environment, change your energy. Then you can start to change your life. So that's why I say start with these little routines. Start to get these good inputs in. Start to get these things that are going to start to fuel you. If you're putting the wrong fuel in your body, if you're consuming the wrong things, you're not going to get what you want. I had a moped, and this moped takes a certain special gas, and it's really expensive. So I try to cut the corner, and I try to put this cheap gas inside of it. I just went to the gas station, got the highest octane there, I put it in. But the problem with that is, when you do that, when you don't put the right fuel in, then you start to have problems. My moped won't start all the time. Sometimes the moped has problems. I have to go take it to the shop and spend more money on that. But if you just invest up front in the things that are going to be beneficial to you, if you put the right fuel in your body, you put the right foods in your body, you consume the right things, when I put that good gas in there, that thing runs smooth. It always works. I never have issues. It gives me peace of mind. And if you want to start having a life where you don't have as much anxiety, when you have more confidence, when you have more self-belief, when you have more self-worth, you have to be aware of what you're consuming. You have to be aware of your environment. You have to be aware of the people around you. You have to be aware of the places that you're going. And are these things, are these inputs pushing me towards my goals or pulling me farther away? Because you're never staying still. You're either going forward or you're going backward. Everything that you consume is pushing you forward in the direction that you want, or is pulling you back against where you want to go. So look at those things in your life. Look at the people, places, and things, and let me know. Are they helping you out? So far, we talked about making decisions and taking actions to reduce anxiety. We talked about building routines and habits to start building that self-confidence. We start to talk about our environment, the people, places, and things, and the inputs that we're bringing in, and are those inputs giving us the outputs? So all that has been said, right? But why are we doing this? What do you actually want? And if you don't know what you want, all of this is pointless. If you don't have that clear direction, if you don't actually know what you want out of your life, if you don't know where you're going, if you don't know what you want to achieve, if you don't know what you want your life to look like, all of this is pointless. So today, if anything else, I want you to walk out of here after listening to this episode knowing exactly what you want. What is it that you want? This is my favorite question to ask, because so many people are doing things to please others. So many people are doing things because they think society will say that's the right thing to do. So many people are getting married because they're on this clock that society told them that they're on. But is that what they want? And you cannot define the success of somebody unless you know what they want. You do not know if somebody is successful until you know what their aims in life are. If they're rich and their goal is to have a beautiful family and they don't have good relationships in their life, they are not successful. So I want you to look at your life. What do you actually want? Do you want to have a great family and be a dad and be a coach and do all these things? Or do you want to be a millionaire and you want to make impact by speaking on stages, writing books, or doing that? Do you want to be a leader in your church and run a church group and give back and go on mission trips and give back to people and help heal people? What is it that you want? There is no right answer. There is no wrong answer. But you have to figure out what it is that you want. You can't do it because somebody else wants you to. You can't do it because society told you to do it. You can't do it just because you think that's what you should do. You actually have to know what you want to do. And if you want to figure this out, you might have to meditate on it. But today I actually want you to write it out. I want you to actually write down what you want. I want you to write it down on a piece of paper. I want you to write it down right now. Think about it for a second. What do you actually want? What do you want out of your life? What do you want that to look like? Now go ahead and write that down. I want you to circle it. I want you to put a check next to it. I want you to underline it. I want you to highlight it. And I want you to take actions today. I want you to make a decision today to push you closer to that thing. What is the thing that you have to let go of to get there? Who are the people that you have to cut out of your life? What is that decision that you need to make right now to get you moving in that direction? Do you have to make a phone call? Do you have to make an email? Do you have to go sign up and get that LLC to start that business? Do you have to end that relationship? What do you want? And I want you to take 2 actions today. One, I want you to make it right now. Right now, make an action. Right now, take a step. Right now, do the thing that is going to push you closer to that thing that you want. And then I want you to write on your calendar in 2 weeks another thing that you're going to do that's going to push you. And it has to get done. And start to make these 2 decisions. One small one right now and one big one in a couple weeks. And if you can follow through with these decisions and you can start chasing what you want, your whole life is going to change. That anxiety is going to go away. The reason that you're anxious is because you're not doing what is aligned with you. The reason that you're self-conscious is because you don't do the things that you know you want to do. So start figuring out what it is that you want. And I want you to start taking these and build these into your life. Start making decisions quicker. Start to set up routines in your morning that are going to set you up for success, and they're going to start to build your self-confidence. Start to look at your energy. Start to look at your investments. Where are you investing? Where are you investing that time, money, and energy? Start to look at your environment. What are the people? Who are the people around you? What are the things that you're doing? What are the things in your environment that trigger you negatively and positively? And I want you to be aware of all this. And then once you have this, you can start to develop that plan. But you need to know what you want, because you cannot define your success unless you actually know what you want. I hope you got some value from this podcast today. I got excited. Please share it with somebody that you think would benefit from it. It's going to help grow the channel, and I really appreciate that. And remember, greatness is already inside of you. Now let's just bring it out.